chira beru. He ganea mi bate. Zanto tobe. Nim atara. Kau majuba be yumi de lokasi mela.
날 이시미미디 꼬샤베 파 치게 갑치 샤로 테미 집에 주니베야.
치기 너지 시를 한가다 지가 라베디베 로시야 소노. 때야 루나날레 레베시 고뱅가 지나 행카날로 이고질리데.
Asal kau kena lebih jauh tanpa ni. Macam lu nak sekarang lebih sabdi nam jom wasit kalau salah dia lah.
사실 지금 남마 밥이 못 줬어. 괜찮아 besser.
튤레딘 디베 같이 알로소 지혜 덕초 텔레 야천이 야천이 이베 조서 리습지디 나이메라 리베 잡사디 바지가 이미
만난 그대로 패치됐나요 마시? 말레베 배고만 오시 만날 납치바드 콘.
Ngalo pembe ko no midi na jenda alo solo nam zam tension ni digila.
가가가
가가가
자차자냐
자자자냐 야기미야 몸에 이야 이야 Debe awo kam ni tungo bela. Yagi awo kam.
감대야.
Lebe jubarama jeni lo tidengala. Lebe nanga chida chikamiga yala.
인테니미 마체리지가 맘파이미 레베 나좀 지로 같이 마좀미디 같이 이나마
Lebe ya lebe thada chapter di thampe sho de mela. Manar ko dio.
Welcome to my TV program. How are you? Today we are very honored to interview Bawo and赖梵耘. 你好.
你好。
Today we're going to talk about your newest movie, The Yark in the Classroom. This is such a very special story, and you are the person who also create the whole story. What makes you start to want to create such a special story?
I'm credited as the creator of the story, but I think I must mention that a lot of this movie, the story, it's actually every element is based on a true story. So, for example, I encountered a teacher who told me that, oh, I was posted in this remote school and there was no electricity and no wood to make my fire. So I needed to keep a yak in the classroom, so his dungs can give me fire. And when I thought about that, I was like, wow, such an amazing story. If it can be brought to the screen, it would, tell such a positive story with the rest of the world. But not only that, I met a little girl in the mountain who didn't want to go to the city because she wanted to care for her mother. And this is a little girl. A 9-year-old girl telling me this, and these are very important messages. So I thought, how can we bring all these stories together and make it into one story and tell a story that represents the story of not only Bhutan, but humanity in general. Because at the end, Lunana is really a story about finding where we belong, and that's, I think, whether it is in Bhutan or in Taiwan or in America, everyone is trying to do that. Everyone is searching for a place of belongingness.
Right.
And I thought it would be wonderful to bring this story together, and it's come together, and I'm very happy with it.
那请问一下，梵耘，你一年大概会去几次不丹呢？
我们通常一年都是2次，然后一待就是1-2个月这样，带小孩过去。不过今年就有点可惜，没办法回去。有点
可惜。那你那时候是怎么认识那个Bawo？
我们是在那个印度认识的。我们在印度朝圣，然后因为我的老师就是他的舅舅，所以就是当时在印度我去朝圣去 见我的上师的时候，然后就认识他。
是宗萨
对
仁波切嘛？
宗萨
仁波切，cool。刚刚有讲到说，就是因为很多故事都是不同的故事串联起来，那这是对你来讲说，在你生命中有什么样一个跟你的连结呢？
之前他自己本身是平面摄影师，然后呢，他常常就是会去不丹各地，然后很多的偏远地带去拍摄啊什么的，然后拍摄一些人文的记录。然后结果当他真的说要这些他收集到的故事变成一个电影的时候，我当时是很兴奋，因为我觉得说就是把我所学到的一些可以一起工作，你知道吗？这个感觉就是好像很好，
很 match 这种感觉。
对。
How do you discover about the Lunana? How do you find that little village?
As I was saying earlier, we are all looking for this place of belonging. And in Bhutan right now, what's happening is Ugyen, the main character, he is actually the youth of Bhutan right now. We have so many youth who are finished college and who seek where they belong in the urban centers of the West. So they leave their, country behind to go and find jobs in Australia, in New York. And then the thing is, what lures them there is light, urban, cities, modern life. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to make a movie about this character who's, wanting to go to Sydney to seek where, his happiness basically. But what if we took him on a journey at the opposite end of the spectrum? On one side, we have the urban center, lights, Sydney Opera House, modern life. But what if we take him to the most remote part of Bhutan we can find, and that is Lunana. Lunana is still the most remote part in Bhutan, and even the name itself, Lunana, it means the dark valley.
The dark valley?
Because it's so far.
Wow.
And I thought, what if we take this character into the opposite of Sydney, so where there is no electricity, where there is no telephone, where there is no blackboard, where he has to make his food from burning a yak dung. And can he find what he seeks there, And it was a kind of my way of telling a story that shares Bhutan, but also a way of sending a message to the youth to say, because I know a lot of the youth can, connect with Ugyen around the world. And I want them to know that, hey, sometimes it's not the city, it's not the light. Sometimes, to really appreciate the light, we must first experience the darkness, and that is what Lunana represents, the darkness, the beauty of darkness.
Wow.
Actually, a lot of people tell me that with the movie's ending, because I've kept it open ending, and a lot of people were like, oh, we want to see him return, The fact that he is singing the song in Australia, for me, that shows that inside he's changed. And that was the message I was trying to put across the whole time. I'm not telling people not to leave their country, not to leave their family. Leave. Getting jobs outside is important. But we must value our traditions and our cultures, with our heart and carry them to wherever we go.
Yeah.
So that was my intention, to the inner change, and that is the most powerful, I think, better than any physical change.
Exactly. I remember one of the moments when Michin started to take Ugyen into to the mountain. On the mountain. You have so many editing that Ugyen always put his headphone.
Yes.
Always. In bedtime, in daytime, always headphone. But when he out of battery, like what do you have?
Then he opens up
exactly.
to the world.
Then you have the moment with the sound of the bird.
Yeah.
And I feel that was so beautiful. And then also Michin tells Ugyen that there's no power by the village.
Yeah.
I think that's have a double meaning of that. If you don't have the power of the headphone, you have the nature.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the power in the village, you have the whole world.
Yes.
내가 nga 축구배 아니 람디날 주게갑 날파 까라 코차디빌 다 뒤기 줄어서 안 nim침에 카울로 케일로 셈수 미기름에 더멜라
딜로 글로벌 워밍 셀라비 글로벌 워밍
나 루비 숨이 끝을라니 고포 하면 스윙가 지면 시를 가지나 대보들로 아니 강기 카우다 케드수 간싱게 까모 참생이 심지데 시라 달로지올로지 카우다 케뉴스 뉴스 주의 간래 간싱게 까모 두제 참sam해 봐 조버라니 zaming디날레 이니 그냥 가보 도멜랑하게 돼
so amale o kayola jo jeruya so amale
This movie, The Yark in the Classroom, most of the actor and actress are non-professional. Like, how did you do the casting and audition for them?
Not much of a choice in Bhutan, because in Bhutan we don't have that many, professional actors, and even the filmmakers. The actors are non-professional, but even my film crew, the arts department or production or camera, light, they are all amateurs. They are not full, right now some of them are working in restaurants as waiters, some are tour guides. But with the actors, I feel like we actually took the lack of non-professionals as an advantage to us. Because what we did was we said, let us find people who mirror the characters, So for example, Pemzam, everyone loves Pemzam. Wherever the film went around the world.
She's so beautiful.
Everyone loves her so much. Even in the Middle East, when we went to Cairo, she made it on the cover of the newspapers there.
Wow.
And then the thing with Pemzam is, when I was looking for a character like her, I wrote the script. And then a lot of my crew members were like, there was no way you'll find a girl like this. Someone who's so outgoing, confident, but who looks, like a girl from Lunana. But when we went up, this little girl came to me and she said, I want to act in your movie. And then early morning, she sang for me. It was her audition, basically. It was her audition and she sang for me in this beautiful video she sang. And then after seeing that, I was like, wow, I want her. But then when I wanted her, I realized that she had no mother. Her father was a drunkard.
So that was a true
Yes,
story?
yes. So then, basically, I casted her in the movie, but then to make it easier on her, I made the story hers. So in the movie, she is coming from a broken family. She is this little girl up in the mountains who has nobody. And finally, she connects with her teacher, and that bond becomes even more special. Even for example, Ugen, the actor who plays Ugen, Sherab, he's never acted in a movie before.
Never, first time.
And
wow.
He, his family has already left for Australia. So he's a musician who's waiting to go to Australia. Oh. So by casting these people who actually mirror the characters in the movie, I'm not telling them to act. I'm telling them, hey, you see this box here? Tell the box your story, And in that way, I think then that naturalness comes out, It's very authentic. Emotions are authentic. For example, in the last scene when Pemzam is saying goodbye to her teacher, I didn't have to tell her the significance of that moment, because we know it's a very important scene in the movie. But for her, she, all along for 2 months, she was being herself. And then when that scene came, very natural. Like those, up in the thing, we don't have fancy makeup to make tears come out. Those are natural tears. And
wow.
So I think that way we were very lucky.
范宇，因为刚刚有提到说，在这次的演员基本上他们就是浑然天成的，甚至是在整部电影里面说故事都是以这些所有素人的自身的原生家庭为背景。那当您在做戏剧指导的时候，您如何能够给予一些提点，能够适合镜头，但是又不太过度的让他们成为镜头上面的表现？
其实我们真的很幸运，因为他们真的是没有接触过摄影机，或者是就没有演过戏，所以他们对于演戏这个东西基本上是白纸。所以其实我们就可以真正的跟他们解释说，其实真正的演戏到底是什么。虽然这个当然大家还在摸索，可是就是我们会让他们知道说，你不要演，就是不是用演的，你一定要用感觉的。然后我们就会跟他们玩很多游戏啊，对，玩很多游戏，然后教他们，就是跟他们对剧本的时候，就是会从心跟他们在聊天这样子，就是一直用聊的。
You know, the amazing thing is I must acknowledge the students of the classroom. You know, all the little kids, they have never been out of Lunana. They have no idea what cinema is. They have never seen a video camera in their lives. But to be able to pull off this movie, it's amazing, you know. And I think that goes back to purity, you know. When it is pure, that charm is there, that magic is there, and it comes out. For example, we were wondering how we can have a scene where the teacher and students do something together. And I was talking to them and I realized they had never brushed their teeth in their lives. So then I was like, wow, let's create a scene where the teacher teaches the kids how to brush their teeth. And we never rehearsed it because we wanted to capture that magic of 8-year-olds, 9-year-old children tasting toothpaste for the first time. How will they react, you know? Because these are things that you can't be like, okay, let's rehearse 3-4 times. But then we kept it without rehearsing, and then the day we shot it, it came out very magically. And they were all really excited, and then they put it in, and they were like, oh, it tastes so weird, I don't want it. But we took advantage of these little things. Like, for example, they had never seen a car. So that's
Not
why.
even a car?
No, because there's no roads there. The nearest road is 10 days walk away.
In 2020.
Exactly,
Wow.
exactly. But I think Lunana should stay the way it is.
Yeah.
We should not connect them with the outside world, you know. We should not bring internet and Facebook and car roads, because then it loses the purity, and Lunana's magic is the purity. It should always remain like that, so people like us can go there and, you know, learn the important messages.
As for you say, like this, never seen a car, they don't have like Wi-Fi, internet, Facebook, whatever, all the social media. Then for you and the whole team, what's the most difficulty for you to film like at a place such like Lunana?
Just being there, because you know, we are also like Ugyen. We are used to light switches, you know.
That is so true.
Yeah, we're used to showering. We're used to having running water. You know, we're used to having telephone, net, Wi-Fi. But up there, we didn't have any of those. So that itself was a very, very difficult challenge. And you know, of course, in the beginning, I told my crew members that I'm asking you to do something very, very difficult. To spend 2 to 3 months in one of the most remote, most difficult to live places on earth. But we're going to, you know, we should take this as an opportunity for all of us to be Ugyen, you know, to go there, to live that life, and maybe learn the important lessons, get the, learn the values of the darkness, as I was saying, the beauty of darkness. And the bonus is that we will show the world a movie. So I always told them making a movie is not the priority here. It is our collective experience of experiencing living up there, you know.
어머. 온다.
Kuzambulle.
Zambo, kamu ci?
Mapim zam ila, nga kelas ki captain ila.
클래스키 가실로?
클래스키 캡틴 일라.
네, 나 같이 봐.
ngachilobredi chutse cheda gule kusuk ila ta chutse goya yasunula lebi cheni minuse chachi tawom ila
다리 클래스요 봐.
ila
야, 제 봐줘 돼. 맞아. 마디?
Thank you, sir.
다리 롭자기 님 고담 밴디기 ngache chichilu ngoche begetop tabra ngai gotsuge te ngiming ugindoji selabi te 펜잠 자식갈래
가지러라.
키면 ngiming ugindoji te na lobjagi te be saping tupka ngadi templei te na lunanana 고다모미 야 다병 어째 베게매 또가 때 책임ing
이게 미피마 일라.
때 지범 조다 같이 베고노이
나몸 조대 주나라 버고이다.
같이 베
뺀달라 뺀기 자술다.
And also, as far as you say, like at there, like they don't have any makeup artists. No. They don't have prop maker. Like, how did you choose the props or the scene or the place that you want to think, oh, this is what I'm looking for?
Well, we had again, you know, when we don't have the professionals, there's again like a positive that comes out of getting, you know, non-professionals together, because then they can all, like, you know, help in different ways. Like, for example, I've worked on certain film departments where, you know, the camera department will be like, oh, that's nothing to do with my department, I don't want to help. You know, they're very professional that way. Like, lighting will only deal with lighting. But when we're in Lunana, you know, everyone did different things, you know, because they don't have the concept of professionalism as of now. Like, for example, we had a makeup girl who had come to help us, but then one of her duties was also to look after Pemzam, because, you know, Pemzam comes from a very poor house. So actually, when we were making the movie, she was sick. She had a very bad cold, and I realized that it was because her clothes were always wet. So then, you know, I asked our makeup girl to, you know, be her like godmother, you know, give her a bath, give her warm clothes. But also, like, our actors, you know, they like Nichen, for example, he was always carrying cameras, carrying equipment, you know. So in a way, there's a lot of charm that comes through that as well. I'm very fortunate to have the team I had.
But what about, like, for your team? It's such a big challenge for them to go such a higher places, higher altitude. They have to walk like really like 8 days to carry all those like things there.
The main crew didn't walk because we were also very on a tight schedule. Our first intention was to shoot the movie from the beginning till the end and actually walk up. And the thing is, it's not 8 days. It takes actually 10 to 14 days.
Wow!
And because in my idea, I wanted to shoot the journey up. But then in the same time, I knew that in the editing room, it will make up for maybe only 15 minutes of the movie. So I was thinking, you know, even budget-wise, it was very expensive to take the entire crew on a 10-day trek.
Right.
And there's
also dangerous.
Yes,
very
because
dangerous
we have to cross over mountain peaks. And many professional trekkers, you know, they have injuries, accidents. And I was like, oh, what if we go up and, because we only had one camera.
Oh, only one camera?
Only one camera.
No.
So what happens?
Impossible.
So what if we like break our camera and you know, that's the end of the movie.
That's the end of the movie.
经费很小，经费很小。
So then I decided, okay, you know what, we will send everything up, and then the main crew, we will just go up on the helicopter and be dropped there.
Ah.
So, you know, we did that, but it saved us a lot of trouble. But as you seem surprised that we only had one camera. You know, we only had enough battery to charge our camera and our sound equipment.
That's all.
That's all. So we had we didn't have enough electricity to charge our laptops.
Not even laptop.
Yeah.
所以他从来没有，他在上面60天，他从来没有看过回放，就是所以所有
怎么可能？
没有啊，所以就
So
盲
it's
拍，你
like
知道吗？
we were shooting on film. You
Yeah.
know? I saw no dailies. We
他没有
would just shoot. We'd be like, okay, we got it. Yeah, okay, we got it.
That's such like incredible ever. I've never heard anything like that.
他第一次看到所有的影片是回台湾，
So when we finally
台湾才看。
对，
when we finally said, okay, we are done, I had to like sit with the team, you know, our director of photography, our assistant directors, and we had to go scene by scene to make sure we got everything. Because once we left, there's no way we
No
can
way
come
to go
back.
back anymore.
So
Well, that's just incredible. I mean, one camera. And also, this is a movie. It's not like a TV episode or just like a YouTuber. It's like the real, actual, very intense, hard work movie. Wow, you are such a magician.
thank you.
Oh, and
It's the
also,
team I had. We had a very good team.
但我觉得有的时候，当你经费真的不是很松的时候，就是你经费是少的时候，其实反而很多的创意会出来。然后，对，你就变得要很相信自己在做的事情，这样。
范宇，你自己本身在做，不管在做戏剧的训练，或者您本身自己也是位演员来讲，那在这样的这么特别一个故事，不单是教室里面来讲，身为一位教师，因为电影里面有一个非常重要的讯息，就是老师可以带着他们看见未来。那你觉得在这次当中，你觉得你带了什么样的一个未来的视野给这些孩子们？
我没办法这样子去想，我觉得其实大家就是一起在学习。我觉得所有东西它就是一个过程，我可能没有办法觉得说我能够，因为我们真的不知道自己到底带给他们的是就有益的或者是有害的，我们完全不知道。所以有些人也会问说，是不是可以？为什么山上的孩子要不要下山来读书或什么，或者是，那我们都不知道说这些决定，就是到底对这些孩子是好的还是不好的，你知道吗？其实我们当时也有点挣扎，说，让佩珠他们这些接触电影啊什么，会不会对到底好不好？
我们如果先不讲说电影本身，而是您自己本身对于戏剧，又再回到这么初中的连结的时候，戏剧跟你本身的生命经验的连结是什么？
因为我真的从小就是在剧场长大的，然后我觉得没有办法想象一个我不是在剧场长大的人生。然后我觉得其实剧场它就是一个很有魔法时刻的一个地方，
尤其是每一次不同剧组，大家确实都
对，
然后就是都好像重生一样。
对，然后就我觉得我从小看那个黑盒子里面，灯暗灯亮，然后换景。然后从没有到有，从有又到没有，演完拆台，就是那一切其实就是一个很小型的人生缩影。这个就是影响我生命很多啦。尤其是在剧场里，它是不可复制的，就它每一秒过了就是过了，就跟人生一样。所以反而电影还可以要重拍一下。对。
In this movie, there's a lot of like message you're trying to tell behind the story. What is the most touch part for you after you did all the editing? What would be the most strongest like message you want to tell to this whole world?
Lunana, a yak in the classroom is very, very diverse. It's in a language that the world doesn't know about. It's about a country very little, people don't know so much about. It is about, a school in the world's most remote part. But as I was saying in the beginning, it boils down to finding where we belong. And that is common, that is universal in not only humanity, but all living beings. All living beings, we are always trying to find where we belong. And the thing with Lunana, Yak in the Classroom is, because it celebrates this, in the diversity, of a different culture, different language, different location, amateur actors, solar-powered film. Within all that is the world is not used to, there is this message of finding where we belong. And I think right now in our world, with everything that is happening, we are always, glorifying the differences. Politically, he's that, I'm this. Religiously, he's this, I'm that. Then
No
we
judgment.
have the COVID-19 pandemic. Everyone is pointing fingers at one another.
Exactly, right.
And in this world, at this time, we must celebrate what makes us similar than what makes us different. And I feel that Lunana Yak in the Classroom does that. It celebrates what makes humanity similar to one another. And I know it's a very small film, and I see it as a small, contribution from our side to the world to be like, hey, all this is going on, but, we are the same here. So.
That's beautiful. 那请问范宇，就是说，就这些演员在你的 audition casting 看完他们之后，然后又看到这部电影，你觉得这部电影整个当中对你来讲最触动你心的是什么？
就是我看完，比如说我们第一次初剪全部剪完以后，就是看完以后自己会有一种觉得，就是很不可思议，可以完成这样子一个，而且我们都是第一次，他是第一次导嘛，对不对？第一次导演，第一部的剧情长片，然后我等于是第一次做制片，所以我们在剪接、音效所有的合成，最后就一步一步都在学，当然碰到很多挑战或者是很艰难的部分，可是我其实自己觉得。就是因为我们在做一个我们都很相信的一件事情，然后我也觉得，就我们都很热爱这件事情，就它其实就是过程，然后就是还蛮享受的。而且我觉得演员他们也是，因为对他们来讲这也是新的经验，然后他们也很爱就是艺术表演，就他们都喜欢唱歌，他们其实都是私底下会去驻唱的一些歌手，然后我觉得这对他们来讲也是一个他们喜欢的一件事情。所以其实做起来不是那样子的辛苦。对啊。
那我觉得在这次电影当中，不单是教室，我觉得它也有很特别，就是我觉得你在陪伴这样的一个角色，说就像你刚刚讲说，你也许不知道对这些孩子造成什么样影响，可是我觉得光你们愿意给予他们这样一个机会，他们也能够，就像因为像那个他有讲佩叔，他是自己也想要被看见，所以我觉得就像在你的戏剧指导之下，我觉得你也给了他们一盏小小的明灯，至少说他们其实声音是可以被听到，他们的样子是可以被看到，
就是起码让外面的人嘛，或者是让别人可以看到，哎，有这样一群人这样子活着。
因为不是你们的这次的这么努力的拍下来，其实我们也无从得知，原来有这么棒的小女孩，有这么棒的故事，还有这么棒的地方。Actually, when I saw the movie, I saw the promotion of 不丹是教室. So for me, as a Bhutan is a classroom. But just today, before I interviewing you guys, I saw the name Yark in the classroom. Like my mind was like explode. Because at the end, the headman of the village, he gave a little nickname to Ugin, like he is the yak. And then when your story keep going and going, and then the girl, she brought a yak into the classroom, and you tell us the beginning, like, oh, you think that's an interesting story, like about a yak in the classroom, so they can have the pool to have the fire. I mean, that's so easy and simple. But today, what makes my mind explode is like, I realized that why the headman want to call Ugin as a yak, because classroom, it kind of like represent education. But maybe yak, it represent Ugin. Like, because we all know that yak's supposed to be in the wild, in the wild range, like they should be free. But maybe yak as the Ugin is being trapped in the education space. But when you find your own way, you find your own freedom.
But also, the one thing is, it goes back to the song as well, because the Ya Lebil Hadar song, which is the main, storyline of the movie. Through that song, we realize that we learn so much from the world we live in. For example, the yak is, what we learn, the values we learn from the yak. And whatever you said, yes, that was all the reasons why we decided on the name yak in the classroom. But also, we wanted to say it because the yak represents the earth, the nature, and by saying that yak in the classroom is that we are learning from the yak. So that yak is reminding us of the values, that we should know, we should hold dear.
고마쯤에 책 갔었나 샵주 텐데이면 야 야기 아웃투디 때 나나 놈저기 리베스
리베스 앞에 배실라
치살드니 뭐 뺨삼 길었대만 치 아따라 샵주 태우냐나 가시베
나베라 루이 차바벨라
아츠코메 나 진짜 최박이 걸 납두면 한번 거시
아니 잡저디 니혼에 나 이카이 미다 셈첸 다들 하모 달래 내다 시다 술루 최밥에 비빌라
나 한번
좀 추스 잡저 템다 아따라 최밥에 비빌라 그 콘섬베라 로기 같이 라비나 같이 노이나 디노섬 가냐 마탄바 마이 잡저디 최밥에 비빌라
나로 잡저디 때나면 한순 나가도시
레베 야 레벨 하다기 잡저디 합비베야 라스 남치기 셀라 레베 아워 깜깜디 퉁고멜라 야기 아워 깜디
깜디야 야 나마시
As well, we know that Bhutanese is like one of the most happiness country in the whole world. For you as a Bhutanese, like what is Bhutan for you?
We have this whole system of gross national happiness, and that is the government will try and make the people happier, then richer. And it's a very, very noble inspiration. And in a way, Yak in the Classroom is kind of touching upon that, because I feel like when the term was first used by our king, he meant about, the real happiness, not the worldly happiness.
Oh.
And by real happiness, I mean what Ugyen discovers in Lunana. And I always tell people that there's a saying in English, wealthy and healthy make a person happy. But of course now, what people think is that if you have a really big bank account with a lot of zeros, that is wealthy. If you, go to the gym every day and you're very healthy and you have a six-pack, you live very long, that's healthy. but I think Bhutan's idea of happiness is rooted in the spiritual wealthy and healthy. And by wealthy, it is to say I have enough, a sense of contentment, you know. Even if you have many zeros in your bank account and you can never say I have enough, you are not wealthy. You are rich, but you are not wealthy. And the real wealthiness is, even if you have only 1 zero in your bank account and you can say I have enough, that is wealthy. And healthy, because Bhutan is a Buddhist country, everything is about impermanence. Everything is always changing. And when the human mind can accept changes, you know, every day is changing and nothing lasts forever. If you can have that acceptance of impermanence, then you are healthy. So with the combination of those two, then I think, you know, people can be happy anywhere, even in Lunana or even in Australia. But a lot of times now, people seem to think the other way, even Bhutanese included. You know, they want more zeros, they want, a different kind of healthy. So I hope that, we will learn from our traditions that what real happiness is.
Or we can learn from the yak of the classroom. 那请问范耘，您身为一位不丹的媳妇，您眼中的不丹是什么样的国家？
其实我很幸运，我觉得我很小我就接触不丹，就是我第一次去不丹的时候是11岁的时候，是我爸妈带我去的，那时候是1991年，然后我觉得，其实91年到现在，不丹当然改变了蛮大的，但是我觉得也是还蛮了不起，是他的改变，他们也很努力的尽量保留他们的传统，然后我觉得这个是我看到的，就是让我学到很多的，就是说怎么样能够在西方主流文化这么强力的洗脑的状况下，当然年轻人是有被改变，然后生活品质、生活方式也在改变，可是我可以看到他们还是很努力的，就是他们，你看他们上班出门，就是还是会穿着传统服饰，然后我觉得这个东西是，就很多的地方很值得学习。
Also, like you just you just tell us about your experience in Bhutan and the vision of Bhutan. Then what is the vision of Taiwan for you? You've been living here for a few years, and then how would you describe Taiwan?
The people are very, very warm and loving. And I think that is something, very rare. And people here should appreciate that. Because, my father was a diplomat. So I lived everywhere. I lived in the Americas, in Europe, in the Middle East, India, Bhutan, of course. But I know that, I don't speak Mandarin. I'm a foreigner. But when I come to Taiwan, there's a sense of love and warmth that makes everyone feel genuinely accepted. And I think that is something Taiwanese people should be proud of and to hold on to that.
Cool. So Taiwan could be one of the happiest country in the world as well. And also, regarding this is your first film.
Yes.
What is your first experience that into the filming industry?
The thing is, my teacher, he's a filmmaker, right? So he took me as his assistant for his third movie, which was called Vara. It was shot in Sri Lanka. And I absolutely hated it. It was so hot, there were snakes everywhere, so much rain, and filmmaking is very difficult. You have to shoot from sunrise to sunset every day for 2 months, 3 months sometimes, and in all difficult conditions. And I hated it. And I told him, I said, I will never make films ever again. But, but then there is this, I'm a lover of stories. I write stories. I take a lot of photos as well to tell stories. But I feel like as I progress as a storyteller, it's slowly evolving. And now I've kind of fallen in love telling stories through moving images. It's amazing. The process of filmmaking is very, very addictive, you could say. the thing of, you know, you sit down and you write a story, create these characters on paper, okay, and then suddenly like you have the process of discovering them, the land, the location, putting it together, adding sound, all that. In the end, this idea that you had in your mind has come alive, you know, and it's, you know, people can, you can share it with the rest of the world. And I think that's such a magical feeling. So I hated the first time, but now it's really, I think I will do it as much as I can.
This is exactly the same story like Ogin. He don't like to teach, he hated, but at the end he loved it, just like your story. Wow, this is so funny. And also, have you shared this movie to Chicha Rinpoche?
Yeah. Oh yes, yes. Actually, when I was editing it, the first cut, no color grade, no sound design, we showed it to Zonsa Khyentse Rinpoche. And
in Taipei.
Yeah, in Taipei.
But he came here.
When he came here. So he watched it. So for me, the first person to watch it was also, I think, the most nervous I was, because his approval matters the most. And he watched it right till the end. And
No, and I remember after 10 minutes watching, he said, oh, he asked where did we find the
actors, yeah.
He said because for some reason he can actually watch him. 就是他的意思就是说，居然可以看得下去，所以这个人代表他演得不错。
而且他是素人，然后他演不错的。
对，他说哇，你们很 lucky， 你们的那个演员就是可以让人看得下去。
这好重要，
看得下去很重要。对对对。
因为今天非常谢谢你们立德路2号 ，Thank you so much for being my guest。差谢了，谢谢。
Lebe awo kam di tungo mela. Yagi awo kam di.
Kam dia.
Lebe jubarama cheni lo tidengala. Lebe nanga chida chikamiga gala.
Inteniemi machiri jekap mangpa imi. Lebe na azom chilo. Gachi majumidi. Gachi inama.
Lebe ya level hada shabchadi thabbe sho temela. Nganaru ko diong.